صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فأوصيكم بتقوى الله، فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى. صلوات. صل على محمد وآل محمد. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. Today is 17th of month of Ramadan. And if you have your eye on history and Islamic calendar, then you must know that today is the day which is known as the day of Ghazwatul Badr. The first war of Muslims and Quraysh of Makkah, known as Badr, had taken place on this day. It was second year of Hijrah, and it was 17th of month of Ramadan. This war is a very important event in Islamic history. If you look at Quran in Surah Al-Anfal, which is chapter number 8, there are 27 verses talking about this particular event. From verses number 5 to 19, then from verses number 41 to 47, and then verses from 67 to 71. 27 verses are talking about this particular happening, this war of Badr. And then there are 7 ayat in Surah Al-Imran also, from ayat number 123 to 129. Altogether, 35 verses of Quran are talking about this one particular confrontation and war. This battle of Badr was so special in Islamic history that those who had participated in this war from the Muslim side, they were always recognized as Badriyun. It became a special category that when some people were, for example, there to bear the witness or to take a position or to support a cause, And if the supporters were some of those that who have been in Badr, so it would bring more weight into their position, their support, or their witness because they are Badri. These are the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had praised them, Rasulullah had praised them, and they had participated in one of the most difficult tasks which Muslims had ever faced. Even Amirul Mu'mineen in one of his, I remember in one of his khutbahs when he talks about what kind of people he has with him, and when he talks about their importance, so he says, I have some of those Badris with me, or those swords which are Badriya with me. And he takes pride of those swords of this battle of Badr. Very briefly, Khutbah Jummah is not a lecture of history, yarhamukumullah, but it's a very important event in the month of Ramadan to remember. And we can learn again so many lessons from it. So that's why I will have a brief review. First of all, Badr is a name of a small village which is located about 80 miles from Medina. It's not as close as Uhud. When we go for Hajj or Umrah, most of us, we go to Uhud and we visit the site where that battle of Uhud was fought. And so we always see and we recite the Fatiha for those shuhada of Uhud. They are buried there. But Badr is about 80 miles away. And it is located on the route going from Mecca or Medina toward Syria. When the Meccans were used to go to Syria, then this Badr was on their way. Or if people of Medina, when they would go to Syria, again this Badr was on their way. Actually, this Badr was a rest area for caravans. Out of the village, they had made some wells where people would stop for water, because the basic need and necessity for the caravans was to come down where they can find water. So there were multiple wells, and one of those wells is known as this well of Badr, where the Prophet's companions, they took the position next to it. So it has that kind of location, which was on the way from Makkah or Medina to Syria, 80 miles from Medina. That is the location. What is the background of this battle or this confrontation? Actually, as you all know that the Quraysh of Makkah, they had become very rough and very tough and very brutal against those converts to Islam. Those who had become Muslims, then these chiefs of Quraysh, these tribes of Quraysh, they would go and subject them to some very severe kind of experiences. They would torture them. They would beat them up. They would bother them. They would create so many inconvenience for them. And in result of that, these converts, Muslim converts, they started migrating. First they migrated to Habsha, and this time now they started migrating to Medina. So when they would migrate to Medina, then these Quraysh, they would come and take over on their properties, their house, if they had a piece of land, if they had any kind of belongings left behind. So they would, it's just kind of a process of nationalizing or taking over. Musadara, it is, there should be a better term, Sheikh Rizwan, for musadara. Confiscating, yeah. So the Quraysh would come and confiscate that property and the belongings of that person that who has left Makkah and gone to Medina. Muhajireen, they were now gathered in Medina, but they are Muhajir. And any one of you who have done Hijrah, so you know that when people migrate, and particularly under those circumstances, they are normally just in two pieces, an empty hand. They don't have much to carry with. So they were in a financial difficulties, and they would try to sell off their properties or to some of the people from distance, but they said, no, those properties are all confiscated. No, you have no access. You cannot take anything from them. So that was one problem which Muslims were facing in Makkah. The other thing was that now when Muslims had migrated, and even at the end the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, he migrated to Medina. So now these chiefs of Quraysh, they started writing letters to those people that who were influential in Medina, and if they had still not converted to Islam, like Abdullah bin Ubay and Raisul Munafiqeen, or some other Jewish leaders and some other people, and threatening them that you have given refuge to the people who have been in problem with us, and finally they fled from here and they came to your town and you have given them refuge, so you have made an offense to us. And we, either you kill them or expel them from your town, and if you don't do that, then we will come and attack on Medina. While we will kill them, we will kill you and we will take your woman as ghanimat. So these kind of threats were being now sent to those people in Medina. Under these circumstances, now Prophet and his converts and his followers, they have to see now how can they deal with this situation. So the plan was made that since Meccans, these Quraysh are all business people, they were all businessmen. Their livelihood was all depending on business. And one of their major routes for doing business with Syria was just passing from Medina, 80 miles. So we can confront them and we say, if you don't give us our property, if you don't give us access on our properties in Makkah, and if you don't release our assets and our properties, then all this business what you are doing and your merchandise and what you are taking from Makkah to Syria or from Syria to Makkah, it is not safe. We have right to take some of your merchandise to make sure that we have taken our assets back from you. Or at least we should make this route unsafe for them. We should confront them, bother them while they are passing by on this route, so much so that they come to some terms. They come to some settlement with Prophet and Muslims and with the people of Medina, that they don't no threat anymore, they don't come to attack, and they also and they can release those properties and those assets. So, in second year of Hijrah, Prophet started sending small companies, small troops, sometime 20 people, sometime 30 people, sometime 50 people, to just go on the route where these people were going and traveling from Mecca to Syria and confront them, scare them, and engage in some kind of hustle and bustle. So they feel the pressure that this route is not safe anymore for us until we come to the terms with the Muslims and give back their rights and their properties, and also leave this animosity with them and stop bothering them. So this had started. There were no history recalls and records. There were certain events of that nature, small things here and there. The big thing which happened was that Abu Sufyan, he headed to Syria with a big convoy. Some historians have mentioned about 1,000 camels. They say the convoy was the convoy of 1,000 camels, all loaded with the merchandise from Mecca, and it is going to Syria. And then, of course, it will come back with another merchandise. So, in that situation, again, the mission was to go and confront them. This is the most popular kind of opinion of historians. There are one or two other opinions also here, but this is the popular one. Prophet asks his people that this is the time. Now, this big guy, Abu Sufyan, with that big convoy is going. So we need to either catch him while he is going. First, that was the mission. So they came, but they came late, and Abu Sufyan had already escaped, and he had moved from that place and gone to the Syria. Then they decided to come when he is coming back. When he comes back, so we can confront him at that time. Prophet was used to send people as a head of state, now head of community, individuals here and there to gather the information. When they are leaving, when they are coming back, where they are stopping, how many are they, and all those kind of information, because you can decide, you can make strategy and you can make plans only if you have the full information. If you don't have information, you cannot plan anything. So Prophet would send those kind of people that who would go and gather this information. Prophet was told that Abu Sufyan is coming back. On that particular day or date, he will be arriving in Badr. It's a big convoy. He has about 40 soldiers or the people, armed people who are guarding this caravan. 40 people. So Prophet asked his people, Ansar and Muhajir, to get ready and leave the Medina and go for this mission. They say that 313 people from Muhajir and Ansar all together. Among them there were about 80 Muhajir and rest of them were Ansar. Muhajir and Ansar, they left Medina toward this place called Badr. Abu Sufyan, who was coming back, he also was a leader and knew all these things. So he also sent his spies and his people to go and see whether the route is clear, whether it is safe, and what is going on in that area. So his people went and they told him that Muhammad, with hundreds of people, is on his way to Badr, and you will be confronted there. I'm just shortening the story. There are so many details here, but because we have limited time, So Abu Sufyan, when he realized that there is danger on the way, so he changes little bit the route. Instead of coming straight to Badr and stopping there, so he escapes the way and deviates from the normal path, and safely he just passed through. But before that, when Abu Sufyan had heard that Prophet with hundreds of people is coming to Badr, he sent his messenger to Makkah to go and announce in Makkah that all your merchandise is in danger. Abu Sufyan is coming back with that convoy, but the people from Medina are now ready to attack, and everything will be looted. So you need to right away, as you listen this, right away people of Makkah, people of Quraysh should come out to help me. So when this news was given in Makkah, they say that about 1,000 people, 1,000 people with soldiers, horses, everything with supply, they just marched toward this place, Badr. Abu Sufyan went safely, but these 1,000 people, they didn't know that they came to this area of Badr. But when they found out that Abu Sufyan was able to flee from this area or escape from this area, now they were divided among themselves. What should they do? Some of them, like as history says, one tribe, Bani Zohra, they said, we had come here to defend our merchandise. Abu Sufyan has made it. So safely he is gone toward Makkah. Now there is no need for any confrontation or any problem. So we should go back. And they left. But people like Abu Jahl, and there were some other people that they said, no, once and forever, we want to eliminate this threat. We cannot keep coming again and again and leaving this threat here on our way. While now we have come here, now we should eliminate this threat and we should go for fight. Again, historians have mentioned those debates and dialogue and discussion among themselves, but finally the bottom line is that these emotional people always take over on when there are messes and when there are many people involved, then the emotional causes or emotional pleas or emotional kind of what you call these appeals always get accepted. So people like Umayyah bin Khalaf or people like Abul Bukhtari or those tribe of Bani Zohra, they became minority, but these extremists and these what you call very emotional kind of people, they started shouting slogans and they created a scene where now everybody felt that now in order to save their honor and their dignity, they have to be part of this whole thing. So they decided to stay and fight. So that is the background. Both armies, Prophet had 313. They had, when they came, they were approximately around 1,000. If Bani Zohra are gone back, we don't know, 100 is gone back, 150 is gone back, 50 is gone back, 200 is gone back, but still they say it was around approximately between 700 and 900 people. So it is still double of those people that who are Muslims, 313. When war broke, so they say that 3 people from the Meccans, from Quraysh, Shaiba, Utbah and Walid. Utbah and Shaiba were 2 brothers, senior leaders of Banu Umayyah, Quraysh, and Walid was the son of Utbah. Utbah is the grandfather of Muawiyah, and Walid is the uncle, maternal uncle of Muawiyah. So one is the grandfather of Muawiyah, one is the paternal uncle, one is the brother of grandfather. These three people with their arms and riding on their horses, and they came in. And they said, we are here to fight. Anybody from Muslims should come and confront us. So historians mention some name. A few people came. And normally it was the way that they would ask them, what is your name? Introduce yourself. And people would tell their name of their father, their tribe. When they introduced them, so people of this Quraysh of Makkah, they looked down on them. They said, first of all, we have no fight with you folks. You are people of Medina. We are here to fight with our own people that who have fled Makkah and they have come here, and we are looking for our match. You are not our match. O Muhammad, now this is the time. We are here. Send those that who are our equals and those who are our match. Now you see, 313 people on the Muslim side. And they are asking, send those who are our match. Who come? Number 1, Ubaidah bin Abdul Muttalib. Number 2, Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib. And Ali ibn Abi Talib bin Abdul Muttalib. So, 2 uncles, 1 nephew. Hamza and Ubaidah are uncles, and Ali is the nephew. 3 people from their side, Utbah, Shaiba, Walid. Shaiba was the oldest one in them, then is Utbah, and the young one is Walid. So they say similarly here, Ubaidah was the oldest one in these. So Ubaidah was now to fight the Shaiba, and Utbah and Hamza is to fight Utbah, and Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib has to fight the young man Walid. And they say that when war started between these 3 and 3, just it was 1 on 1. 3 people on that side, 3 people on this side. So Hamza and Ali, they took care of their warrior, the opposition person, just in one strike, and very quickly. So Walid is killed and Utbah is killed. But the struggle is going on between Shaiba and between Ubaidah. And here Amirul Mu'mineen quickly goes to help his uncle Ubaidah and kills the Shaiba also. So out of those 3 people, 2 are killed by Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. This is a claim which Amirul Mu'mineen in one of his letters to Muawiyah also he made a claim. One time when Muawiyah had threatened Amirul Mu'mineen for a war, Amirul Mu'mineen said, you are threatening me? You don't remember your grandfather? You don't remember your uncle? You don't remember all those people? I still have the same sword in my hand. My heart is the same, I am the same, and my sword is also the same. And you are threatening me? So, this is how, when all of those 3 were killed, that is the time when they started. Now, the war was like it was everyone from this side and everyone from this side, all together. Prophet raised hands. And he was, as history says, Prophet was in a very exceptional condition. This was first war. He had very little numbers with him. So they say either he would raise his hands and make du'as and very emotional kind of pleas to Allah, or he would just go in the sajda and he would start asking du'as from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are putting all our trust in you. And then one line is very famous that Prophet ended up even saying this, "Oh my Lord, these are the only people. These are the only people. If they get killed, then there is no one that who will worship you. So this is all what I have. So please." So Prophet was in that situation, either making du'as, making pleas, and also leading and guiding and commanding. And finally, what happened that everybody knows, that Muslims who were committed, who were being commanded by Prophet, people like Hamza, people like Ali, people like Ubaidah, even Zubair, who later on turned different, but in that war, Zubair was also one of the great warriors and great fighters, and certain other companions. So they fought very well. And finally, what happened, that when they saw that their leaders got killed, and Abu Jahl got killed, Abu al-Bukhtari got killed, all their major leaders, they got killed. So the rest of the people, they started fleeing the battlefield. And they fled. But what happened? What was the bottom line? From the Muslim side, 14 people were martyred. Out of 313, 14 people were martyred. 6 from Muhajirin, 8 from Ansar. And from the other side, 70 people got killed. 70 people got killed. And more than half were killed by the sword of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. More than half. 70 people got killed, and these 70, again, their leaders, significant people. And 70 people got arrested. They became the prisoners of war. 70 people. So it was a huge victory for Muslims. When the news came in Medina, these Jews and Munafiqeen, they were laughing. They said, "How come?" Meaning these people only 313. They had only 3 horses. According to some riwayat, 2 horses. According to some, only 3 horses. And some of them were elderly, some of them were very young. These 300 people, that Quraysh of Makkah, big army, experienced people with so much ammunition, with so much arms, and they defeated them and they arrested their people. They are just making their claims. But when Prophet and Muslims and all, they entered and they brought all these 70 people with them, they saw that. Meaning, yes, they did a big thing. So it was really a very, very big and huge news and victory for Muslims. Prophet, and this was the custom. Before leaving the Badr, those 14 people were buried just right away there in the place of Badr. So it was not custom at that time to carry the bodies from one place to other place, or it was 80 miles, meaning if they wanted, they could, but that was not the custom. So they just buried them there, then took these prisoners, went back to Medina, and Prophet divided these prisoners, 3 or 4 individuals. You take 3 or 4 people at your home, take care of them, and feed them well, take care of them until we decide about them. Later on, Prophet decided that he should free them by taking ransom from them. Average ransom which was taken from them was about 4,000 dirham. But from some rich people, it was taken even little more. Those who were poor and those who couldn't pay, they were released freely. Some of them who were educated, they could read and write. Prophet said, if you teach the 10 children of Muslims how to read and how to write, you will be free. That shows again the emphasis on education in Islam. that Prophet is building a community, and he knows that if he wants to build a community, that community has to be educated. And even if they are kafir or mushrik, but if they know how to read and write, if they have some information, if they know something, then you can learn from them. It is beneficial, you should learn from them. You cannot say because they are kafir or mushrik, we are not going to learn from them. So, if you teach 10 children, you will be released. One very brief story, and then we finish this khutbah. One of the prisoners was Abul As. He was married to a lady called Zainab, who was daughter of Hazrat Khadija. Now, we don't want to get into this dispute whether this was the daughter of Prophet as well, or this was only the daughter of Khadija from the previous husbands. That's another historical debate. But at least she was daughter of Khadija. And Abul As was the husband of that Zainab. Abul As was one of the prisoners. He sends message to his wife Zainab in Makkah that send this much money, funds, so I can be released. Zainab gathers some money, and I think the money was not 4,000 or 3,000 or whatever. She puts one necklace, she takes out one necklace from her neck and puts that also with the money, and she sends that. So when this was brought to the Prophet, and Prophet saw the money and saw that necklace, they say Prophet's eyes were full of tears, and he started crying. Why, Ya Rasulullah? He says, this is the necklace which was used to be in the neck of Khadija. This was her jewelry. But when Zainab was married, so the mother gave her necklace to her daughter, Zainab. While Prophet was crying, he looked at his companions and he said, it's now yours. If you want to take it, if you want to keep it, you have the right. But if you listen me, for the sake of Khadija, for the sake of her sacrifices, send back this necklace to the daughter of Khadija. And Muslims, they said, Ya Rasulullah, if that is the case, why not? So they gave back that necklace, sent back to, and they released the Abul As, and they sent back that necklace to the daughter of Khadija. Ibn Abil Hadid, a great scholar of Ahlul Sunnah who has written the commentary on Sharh on Nahjul Balagha, he talks about it. He says, what if Muslims had given this fadak also to Fatima, just not as a daughter of Muhammad, as a daughter of Khadija? Meaning, if they want to follow the sunnah of Prophet, how much Prophet was touched and moved when a daughter of Khadija sends her necklace, and while necklace is now property of Muslims, as a fidya, as a ransom, it was a property of Muslims. But he makes the appeal and he says, yes, it is yours, but it will be good for the sake of Khadija and for her sacrifices if you can give it to her daughter back. So even Ibn Abil Hadid says that even if the fadak was property of Muslims, and even if it was part of BaitulIlm, and even if it was state property, as that was also known, that ransom money and necklace was also state's property. But if that can be returned to Zainab, why fadak cannot be returned to Fatima Zahra salam? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صل على محمد آل محمد صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وعلى آبائه الكرام واتصل الليالي والأيام صلوات. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر الله أكبر.